Hello and welcome to my watch reviews. If you're new to the channel, my name is Mike, and on the bench today we have the latest watch from a brand called Alto 8. Now if you don't know Alto 8, they like to tell time a little bit differently and do everything their own way. I'll just put some pictures up now of previous models that I've reviewed, and that gives you some kind of idea of what to expect in this packet right in front of us now. So let's open it up and have a look. And here we go. This has got Alto 8 written all over it because it is very different to anything you may have seen before. And this has a sort of casino poker theme running through it. You can see there that there's a disc spinning around right in the center of the watch, which looks like a chip from a casino, and you have the suits from a deck of cards there as well. But there is more to it than just that. At first glance when I saw this, I thought, maybe it's a bit of a novelty. But then when you start looking a bit closer, it is actually a very interesting watch. Lots of detail, quite a bit of engineering going on as well. So even if you don't like the look of this watch right now, stick with this review because, as always, we're going to get up close and personal. I'm going to take it out of the case. We're going to put it on the microscope because look, even from this angle, there is a lot to look at. This has got layers and layers and layers. Now, most of this review is also going to have to be done with me holding the watch because, again, if I turn it this way, you can see that it has a very domed sapphire crystal. And as a result, you get a ton of reflection. And I like to do most of my shots outside in the open air, and that hasn't worked to great effect because of the light displacement from that crystal. So please bear that in mind. I'll try and show you this watch from all angles, and of course its best angles as well. This model is called the King, quite aptly named, I think, and it has this satellite hour wheel construction. It's got 30 parts in it, and it's a lot of engineering, to be quite honest with you. First of all, if you just look at the watch, how do you tell the time? It's very straightforward actually. They made a model very similar to this, which I'll show in a moment as well next to it. You look at the scale at the top, that is telling you the minutes, and of course the 5 in this occasion at the top there, so we're looking at 5:35. Dead easy to tell the time. I mean, you're not going to get 5:36, 5:38. It's quite difficult on the minute track, but I think it's not for that sort of purpose. It's all about the aesthetic on this particular model. What is very interesting is they've had to modify the movement because it takes 3 hours for the 5, if you like, or the full rotation of that satellite construction. So they've had to mess around with the movement gearing on the hour wheel in order to make it run slower to be able to tell the time on that. I don't even know how many degrees that scale is on the minute track, but it's very clever engineering, and I actually quite like that. There's 4 colorways to this watch. There's a green one with a titanium case, there's a blue one with a stainless steel case, the black one with a stainless steel case, and then this one with the red hour markers. This is actually in a titanium case that's been treated to give it the black matte colour. I personally prefer the stainless steel ones. I think it's more, I don't know, it gives it a bit more quality than this. This still looks a bit too dull for my liking. And if it's a watch to wear at the casino, it's about bling, isn't it, at the end of the day, not something so subdued. And here's the watch in hand, and it's a shame about that reflection because it is very nice. There's a lot to look at, and with all that depth under the crystal there, look, it doesn't do it justice on camera, I don't think, really. Side profile, it's got a lovely case shape, very elegant, very dress watch. Love the bezel actually. You've got the 8 logo on the crown. Alto 8 sort of stands for the 8 parts of the day, so if you have 8 hours of work, 8 hours of rest, 8 hours of play, nice way to look at life. I wish I only had to do 8 hours of work, I can tell you that now. We have a leather strap, calf leather strap with again the infinity logo there. and down to a blacked out buckle, which is also signed. But we want to see how it rotates, don't we? So if I pull the crown out, you can see that the hours change at the bottom here. Let's just try and get the light reflection out of the way. So 7 o'clock comes up here, look, and as we go, 8 is being prepared, and then again the 6 is going to turn to the 9 at the bottom, the 7 is going to turn to 10, and then this is where it gets interesting. It's party piece, and a bit that I'm on two minds about. We get a J for a Jack. So Jack represents 11, and then the 9 is going to turn to a Queen, and that is the 12 o'clock. So 12 o'clock is there at the Queen, and then when we get back to 1, 1 is Ace. Now I don't mind 1 being Ace. Of course the King is nowhere to be seen because, as Alto 8 like to say, the owner of the watch, the wearer of the watch, is the real king. So there we go. You've got to like cards to enjoy the full benefits of this watch. Personally speaking, I think if they didn't have that theme and just kept it, made something quite interesting here with the chip and kept the numbers normal, I think it'd have a much wider appeal, and as a result they'd sell more units, which is essentially what it's all about, isn't it? But let's not knock it too much, because that is some good engineering right there. If I just bring into shot the one that they made before, this one was called the Roto. It's got fingerprints all over it, sadly, and this was the same. This was again a casino themed or roulette themed, but obviously there's no markings on it for casino. Has the same sort of principle. You can see that the discs spin, and I really like this watch, and I wear this quite often because it's something different. I guess the difference, or the what's better about this one is because these come down to a little pin at the bottom, so it is a little bit more precise, whereas here, well, is it 10:7, 10:10? It's harder to tell the time on this one, I feel, and they've actually put a better minute track in as a result of that to make it a little bit more accurate. Here we are, first of all, looking at the movement, and as you can see, it is a Miyota 9039, so one of their higher grade movements. This is a high beat movement, so it's beating at 28,800 vibrations per hour, and as a result that in theory would give you a smoother tick, but you won't be able to see that on the spinning casino chip. But it also gives you a little bit more accuracy within the movement, so always nice to see a higher beat movement. So this is, other than that, is a very typical Miyota, a little bit decorated. You've got some Côte de Genève striping there, and well, this sort of radial brushing finishing to the rotor, which won't stay still, as typical for a Miyota. And here we go. The microscope, as you know, holds no prisoners, but you get to see a little bit more detail that I don't think you saw before. It is such depth on this that I have to have this out of focus in order to see other things. It's quite interesting in itself. So again, as we were talking, you can see the print there for the minute track, and yeah, that's all very well. It seems to be a little bit more spaced out here, and then get a bit more bunched up over there, so I don't know what that is about necessarily, but I can forgive it for that. So then we're looking at all of this construction. Now, first of all, you've got to think, right? So if you don't know who I am, I have a main channel called My Retro Watches. I've been repairing and restoring watches from an amateur point of view, or a hobbyist point of view, for over 7 years now. So I think I know my way around a movement, and I understand how things work. And what fascinates me about this watch, and one of the one I've just showed you, the Roto as well, and other brands that I've seen do things a little bit differently, is that all of this whole construction here has to be powered just by the torque of the movement itself. So the hour wheel is driving all of that, and therefore this has got to be very light. I'm assuming if it was too heavy, is there enough power in a watch to move it? You know, through the train down to the I forgot what you call it, the balance wheel. That's all very controlled, and then it just goes through to the main part here through a thing called a cannon pinion, which transfers that movement onto the front of the watch. And I don't think it has all that much torque at all. So to be able to carry all of that around and move it is quite some feat. So this has to be made of very light material, I would surmise. Interesting lattice work thing here. That's, I don't know, it's some sort of, it's either plastic or some sort of composite. Not too sure about its sort of matte colour. I think if it was, I can't say if it was gloss, you could make that look a little bit more high class than it possibly is. You know, does it cheapen the watch? I'm not sure. You can also see that sort of, well, I don't know what you'd call it, webbing almost underneath as well. It gives it again a little bit of depth. So from this side profile you can see just how much it rises above the minute track here. That is a good 5mm or more. So there's a lot of substance to it, and I can just about see the staff or whatever it is it's all sort of held together with. Very cool. And then again, looking from this angle as well, you can see plenty of depth. I'm also curious to see what is setting off the what makes these rotate. Either way, it is a marvel. Whether you like the playing cards thing or not, it's still really interesting and really cool that somebody, a company out there, wants to make something different. And I like different, really do like different. Here we are looking at the seconds disc and the print on that. It's at very, very high magnification. It doesn't look super fantastic, but it's good enough. But since then I've figured out how it works. You can't really see how it works, but you can see these little indentations on every wheel, and you can see if I touch them it tries to rotate. So they catch on something down at 6 o'clock, and that's what pushes them over. So quite a simple yet effective way. But of course it's still got to rotate reliably and everything else. So there we go, that's the microscope shot. Let's just show what it looks like on the wrist, and of course the loom shot. So with a wave of the UV pen we get a loom shot. Now I don't expect the loom to be perfect on this watch. It's not exactly a watch that should even carry loom, and as it's printed rather than infilled into indices, I would expect this is going to fade very, very quickly. So let's leave it on a bit of a time lapse and see how long it lasts. And there we go, at the end of a 6-minute test. It's not going to win any awards. I don't know how you'd be able to read the time in the darkness anyway, certainly when the scale's gone, but it's got loom. And here's what it looks like on my 7-inch or 18cm wrist. The diameter of the watch is 38.5, thickness is 13.7, most of that is that domed crystal. Lug width is a pleasing 20mm, and lug to lug is 47mm. So good sizing all round. Let's test the movement. 51 degrees is your lift angle, and it's going to make a lot of noise because it's a high beat. But we're expecting to see some good accuracy, and straight off the bat that is exactly what we're seeing. Look at all the little speckles there, nothing. We have no beat error at all. It's always my pet moan about every watch I review, is it always has a beat error. This one is perfection. Good amplitude and a good rate. You always want a watch to run a little bit plus, because over the years it will slow down a little bit, and as it slows down it's still within tolerance. So dial up, this is perfect. Let's put it at crown up. These are usually the stress positions, and we are getting literally no deviation at all. Now, you know, the 9039 movement is a higher spec movement from my Olto, so you expect to see better performance, but it is surprising me just how good that is. We are now at the what are we, crown, I can't even see now, crown down position. No difference at all. Very, very impressive. Lastly, dial down, and that's usually the best position anyway, so you're not going to see any deviation. So yes, I'm impressed with that movement. Whether Alto 8 have tweaked it and brought it into a higher regulation, I don't know. But yes, 10 out of 10. That passes my test all day long. Good to see. So as of making this review, they haven't released the price of this yet. It's going to be launched on Kickstarter, I think the 26th of September. And there will be a link down in the description that you can click, and it's going to give you a substantial discount if you sign up for it. I would expect this to be probably launched at maybe $400-500 US, maybe a bit less, I'm hoping, just based on what their Roto went for. Do I like the watch? I love how it's been done. I just think you could have made it less niche, you know. If you hadn't have gone with the casino theme, then I think this would sell a lot, because people would be very interested in having something a little bit different. And that is very Alto 8. Like I said at the start, they do things differently, and I have to applaud them for that. So of course, if you want to find out more, hit that link below. Go and check out Alto 8. Perhaps go and have a look at their website as well, because they have their past models, and some of them might just appeal to you. So that's it for this review. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments below. I'd be very interested to read what you've got to say. Equally, I'm very active at the moment, trying to make a big video on the main channel, My Retro Watches. Be sure to go over there and subscribe. I've got a Bullover Accutron 214, the original Space View watch from the 1960s, which is just an amazing piece of technology, and I'm working on that right now, so that should be released in a matter of about a week or two. Thanks very much for watching. See you next video. Bye for now.